Okay. Let's see. Thanks, everybody. I think it's always hard switching to discussion mode, and it's sort of this interface makes it challenging to have some of these discussions, but we had some good conversations in the dusty room. In lieu of sort of summarizing what we talked about in there today, though, because this is the end, and we are going to have some write-ups from that, I wanted to bring up a couple of big questions that maybe folks who are left can type in the chat their thoughts on these. But Wesley and I were pretty concerned when we were putting this meeting together to make sure we were getting as many folks and representation from as many sort of different areas of research relevant to PSI as possible. But in the end, I'm sure we miss some folks, right, who are maybe stakeholders, so representation from industry. So some of the folks who are maybe interested in the implications or putting instruments and sensors on their vehicles and things like that, right? There might have been some folks in attendance, but we didn't really have presentations on that side as much. But also just like adjacent fields of research. So I think we had a few talks that were sort of more focused on granular physics and granular mechanics. And we had a few folks that were more sort of on the volatile sides of things, but are there other areas that you think that maybe we missed having presentations from at this, that if we were to do this again, we might try to encourage some other reach out to folks and get some more answers to questions we might have. So if there are some thoughts you have on that, feel free to type it in the chat. The other, and Wesley, did you want to say anything about that?
No, not on that. I think that covers it. This is, I think I maybe mentioned it yesterday, and it's kind of implicit here in what Addie said, but the goal really has been to bridge the gaps, between science and engineering community, and hopefully this is a step in that direction, but it would be great if the conversation was ongoing and, as we realize, oh, hey, there's someone else doing, research that may not go by the PSI name, but is relevant to what we're, to the fundamental problems we're trying to understand better. Yeah, it would be great to sort of continue building those connections and collaborations and things like that.
This is Peter Lever. If I may comment on industry and customer participation here, you have to understand that a lot of the main customers, like the HLS providers and the CLEPS landers, they're already getting support through NASA. The HLS guys, they get like 40, 50 people, manpower level. So they're not here trying to find solutions. They're already talking through NASA. So they're not wandering around and looking for solutions. So that's probably why there's not a lot of presence here. These people are already talking to potential providers and hopefully getting the support that they need. They're probably not getting all the support they need, but that's why they're not wandering around here.
Yeah, and I think one of the questions from one of the panelists yesterday, I think one of the questions in our IO is like, how do we better connect some of the folks maybe who are academics with the folks asking those questions? And I think it is partially through NASA. And that's a little bit of where are we sharing this information? How are we making sure that like different people across the spectrum know about things that are getting published? So that's sort of on my slide here. One of the things is how do we continue this discourse? Do we want to start like a Slack? Do we want to start some sort of online conversation mechanism? Maybe just a listserv where folks can say like, hey, I published this new paper. Feel free to put something in the chat or reach out to me after this if you're interested in something like that, or if you have ideas about ways to facilitate that. And the other thing is that like we had this meeting this week, and the LSSW is a really great way to have these conversations, and then so one of the outcomes is that we'll put a report together. But I think it would be really great to have something like a special session at a conference in the near future to sort of continue this discussion. One of the things we've talked about too is, like, I know internally to NASA, they have TIMs, technical interchange meetings. So maybe something along those lines but a little bit more informal. There are things, there could be like a monthly webinar or bi-monthly webinar or something like that, to host a few small, short, maybe slightly longer, but just a couple of talks each time. So there's some different models we could use to sort of make sure the conversation continues. And we're brainstorming on that, but we're very open to suggestions, obviously. If I put a poll, I'm curious if I put a poll in the IO tool, if folks would look at it. I might put it in there and then we can email it around to the participants, but like which of the conferences would be the best one to have something for a special session, because as Wesley mentioned, we sort of have different groups and different representation here that probably go to different conferences. And there are things like the ASCE Earth and Space Conference that maybe brings folks together pretty well in this area, right? But not as many maybe of the sort of planetary science side go to that. So thinking about where that special session might be would be useful also. So I might do a poll and send that around to figure that out.
Yeah, there are a couple of comments just about maybe AIAA has had a PSI focus action session before. So that's also something I think on the planetary science side, folks might not be as aware of. And then Parvati put in just a brainstorming suggestion about tutorials on using different codes, or some kind of maybe a PSI Physics 101 kind of session. So
yeah, cool. Yeah, SciTech and then the Earth and Space, I think, are the two places where we see a lot of PSI talks that are, I would say, more from maybe the engineering community as opposed to the sort of science community. But I mean, it's not, I'm saying those two terms, and obviously they intersect a lot. So hopefully not offending anyone, but yeah, cool. But I mean, we can encourage that and sort of that cross-pollination better too. Okay, so as we're wrapping up then, and feel free to keep putting things in the chat, that's helpful and we're capturing it. Part of what we do from this is, what are the outcomes from this meeting? I hope everybody got a lot out of it. I think, I mean, I learned a lot and it was really great to hear everyone's talks. The abstracts are available online. Ricky's been recording this the last 2 days. We are capturing the Q&A on both the IO and in the meeting chat, the WebEx meeting chat. So we'll put that together. And then we will be producing a report out of this. We will primarily be putting that together, but we might solicit specific questions or comments from, we might have questions where we solicit specific things from folks. So if you hear from us in the next month or two, please feel free to reply. And yeah, thanks everyone for the great talks and the great thoughts, and feel free to follow up with us moving forward. We'll hope to keep this conversation going, but I think it was a really great meeting the last 2 days. Go ahead, Wesley.
Oh, no, I just was going to, echo the thanks to everyone who took the time to attend, present, participate, and I don't think I have anything more to add than that.
And huge thanks to Ricky and all of the folks who ran the slides and helped us moderate, and to Kayla and Daniel and Alyssa, who are taking notes that will be important moving forward. Cool. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your day and the week.